If you're raising a child with autism, you're not alone. This video is for you. It's a story of hope, a story of resilience, and a story of how we found our way. My name is Anya, and my son Leo is my universe. But for a long time, our universe felt incredibly small, confined by silence and misunderstanding. Leo was diagnosed with autism at 2, and the initial diagnosis felt like a life sentence, not for him, but for me. The whispers of developmental delays, the pitying glances, the endless therapies that seemed to yield so little they chipped away at my hope. I was drowning in a sea of grief, anger, and a bone-deep fear of the future. The world saw a child who flapped his hands, who didn't speak, who seemed lost in his own world. I saw my Leo, the boy with the most infectious giggle, the boy who loved the feel of sand between his fingers, the boy whose eyes held a depth I knew the world couldn't see. But how could I bridge the gap? How could I help him connect with a world that seemed so determined to exclude him? There were days, many days, when the weight of it all was crushing. The meltdowns in the grocery store, the stares in the park, the constant struggle to communicate, they left me exhausted and defeated. I remember one particularly difficult day. Leo was having a terrible time. He was overwhelmed, and his frustration manifested in cries that tore at my heart. I felt the familiar sting of tears welling up, and I sank to the floor beside him, feeling utterly lost. In that moment, something shifted. I stopped fighting the moment, stopped fighting the world, and just held him. I whispered to him, "It's okay, Leo. We'll figure this out, together." That was the turning point. It wasn't a magical cure, but it was the beginning of my acceptance. I realized that my grief wasn't helping Leo, it was hindering him. I started focusing on his strengths, his passions. He loved music. He would rock back and forth, humming tuneless melodies, completely absorbed. So, I filled our home with music. We sang, we danced, we clapped, and slowly, miraculously, Leo began to respond. He started mimicking sounds, then words. He started reaching out, connecting. We found an incredible therapist, Sarah, who saw Leo not as a diagnosis, but as an individual. She taught me sign language, not just for Leo, but for me. It became our secret language, a bridge between our two worlds. And as Leo learned to communicate, his world expanded. His meltdowns became less frequent, his joy more visible. Now, Leo is 10. He still flaps his hands when he's excited, and he still sometimes struggles to express himself. But he also reads, he writes, he plays the piano. He has friends, real friends, who understand him and accept him for who he is. He is my Leo, brilliant, funny, and uniquely himself. Our journey hasn't been easy. There have been tears, setbacks, and moments of utter despair. But through it all, I've learned the most important lesson of all. Hope is not something you find. It's something you cultivate. It's the belief that even in the darkest moments, even when the world seems to be telling you it's impossible, things can get better. They can, and they will. Don't give up on your child. Don't give up on yourself. Your love, your patience, your unwavering belief in them, that's the magic. That's what will open doors you never thought possible. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the most extraordinary journeys are the ones we take together, hand in hand, heart to heart.